Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Tonight, as the stars twinkle above, let's journey back in time, over 2,000 years, to uncover the mystery behind one of the most famous celestial events in history, the Star of Bethlehem. What was this mysterious light that guided the Magi to a humble manger? Was it a miracle, a myth, or a real astronomical event that we can explain today? Let's find out. The story, as many of us know, comes from the Gospel of Matthew. It tells of wise men, or Magi, from the east who arrived in Jerusalem. They asked King Herod, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." This star, it seems, was no ordinary star. It appeared at a specific time, moved, and then stopped and stood over the very place where the young child was. For centuries, this story has captivated believers, astronomers, and historians alike. Is it purely a symbolic tale, a literary device to signify the importance of Jesus' birth? Or did the Magi witness something real in the night sky? The quest to answer this question has led to some fascinating theories, blending science, history, and faith. Let's start by putting on our astronomer hats. If the Star of Bethlehem was a natural event, what could it have been? One of the most popular and long-standing theories is that it was a comet. Comets are these cosmic snowballs of frozen gases, rock, and dust that orbit the sun. As they get closer to the sun, they heat up and spew gases and dust into a glowing head and a long tail. They can be incredibly bright and visible for weeks or even months. Ancient observers, including the Chinese, were meticulous record keepers of the heavens. And indeed, Chinese and Korean astronomers recorded a comet in the constellation Capricorn in 05 BC. This timing is pretty close to when many scholars believe Jesus was born, which is actually a few years before the year 01 AD. A comet would certainly fit the description of a spectacular moving star. However, there's a problem with the comet theory. In ancient cultures, comets were almost universally seen as bad omens. They were harbingers of disaster, war, famine, or the death of a king. It seems unlikely that the Magi, who were highly respected astrologers, would interpret a sign of doom as heralding the birth of a divine king. So, while a comet is a visually dramatic candidate, its cultural meaning just doesn't quite fit the narrative. So, if not a comet, what's next on our list? How about a nova or a supernova? A supernova is the explosive death of a massive star, an event so powerful it can briefly outshine an entire galaxy. A nova is a similar, but less dramatic, explosion on the surface of a white dwarf star. Either of these would appear as a new star suddenly blazing in the sky, where none was before. Again, we turn to our ancient astronomical records. Chinese observers did record a guest star in the spring of 05 BC, in the constellation Aquila. Some have suggested this could be our star. It would have been a new, bright object, just as Matthew describes. However, like comets, these events didn't typically have the positive astrological meaning we're looking for. More importantly, Matthew says the star went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. A supernova, or a nova, being incredibly distant, would appear fixed in the sky with all the other stars. It wouldn't appear to move against the background of other stars, or guide the Magi to a specific house in Bethlehem. The physics just don't support that kind of apparent motion. This brings us to one of the most compelling and widely discussed scientific explanations: a planetary conjunction. This is when two or more planets appear to get very close to each other in the sky from our perspective here on Earth. These events aren't supernatural. They're a predictable part of the beautiful clockwork of our solar system. The great astronomer Johannes Kepler, back in the 17th century, was one of the first to seriously propose this. He calculated that a rare triple conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn occurred in the constellation Pisces in the year 7 BC. A triple conjunction is when the planets meet, separate, and then meet again 3 times in a short period. Now this is where it gets really interesting. Let's break down the astrology, which for the Magi was their science. Jupiter was known as the king of the planets, representing royalty and kingship. Saturn was often associated with the Jewish people, and the constellation Pisces. The fish was also linked by some ancient astrologers to the nation of Israel and the end of an age. So, Imagine you're a Babylonian Magi. You see the planet of kings, Jupiter, meeting with the planet of the Jewish people, Saturn, not once, not twice, but 3 times in the constellation associated with Israel. This would be an incredibly significant celestial sign, pointing directly to the birth of a powerful new king in Judea. It's not a single, flashy light, but a series of profound events. This theory aligns beautifully with the Magi's actions. They saw the first conjunction in the east, which prompted them to begin their long journey. The journey to Jerusalem would have taken months. By the time they arrived and spoke to Herod, the planets would have been moving in the sky. When Matthew says the star went before them, it could be describing the planet's apparent motion as they traveled south from Jerusalem to Bethlehem. And what about the star standing over the house? Some astronomers have pointed out that planets, due to Earth's own motion, appear to slow down, stop, and reverse direction in the sky, a phenomenon called retrograde motion. It's entirely possible that Jupiter reached one of these stationary points in its path right when viewed from Jerusalem, appearing to hang motionless in the southern sky, directly over the village of Bethlehem. There was another remarkable planetary alignment around 02 BC, involving Jupiter and Venus. Venus is the brightest object in the night sky after the moon. When it and Jupiter came together, they would have appeared to merge into a single, brilliantly bright star. This event also has strong astrological significance, with Jupiter the king planet and Venus the mother planet. Some scholars favor this event, as it places Jesus' birth closer to the traditionally accepted date. So we have comets, supernovas, and planetary conjunctions. All are plausible natural events that occurred around the right time. The planetary conjunction theory, especially the one in 07 BC, seems to tick the most boxes. It explains the astrological significance, the journey of the Magi, and even the star's apparent movement and stopping. But, we have to be honest, all of these scientific explanations require a bit of interpretation. Matthew's account says his star, singular, a conjunction is 2 or more planets. Matthew says it led them to a specific house, which is difficult for any celestial object to do. An object in the sky can point you to a town, but pinpointing a single building from miles away is another matter. This leads us to the final possibility, that the Star of Bethlehem was not a natural event at all, but a supernatural one. A unique, miraculous light, created by God for a specific purpose. For many people of faith, this is the most straightforward explanation. It doesn't need to conform to the laws of physics or astronomical precedent because it's, by definition, a miracle. In this view, the star could have been a localized, brilliant light, perhaps something like the pillar of fire that guided the Israelites in the book of Exodus. It could have moved low in the sky, independent of the celestial sphere, leading the Magi directly to their destination. This explanation honors the text exactly as it's written, without trying to fit it into a scientific box. It embraces the story as a testament to the divine nature of the event it proclaims. So, where does that leave us? We have compelling scientific theories that show something extraordinary was indeed happening in the heavens around the time of Jesus' birth. The triple conjunction of 07 BC is particularly powerful, offering a narrative that aligns with the history, astrology, and text of the gospel. At the same time, we have the theological perspective that views the star as a pure miracle, a divine signpost that defies natural explanation. And perhaps, the truth isn't an either-or situation. Could it be both? Could a natural, predictable astronomical event set in motion since the dawn of time have been divinely appointed to reach its climax at that specific moment in history, to be interpreted by wise men who are prepared to understand its meaning? It's a beautiful thought, where science and faith don't conflict, but instead converge to tell a single, epic story. Ultimately, the exact identity of the Star of Bethlehem may remain a mystery, and maybe that's part of its enduring power. It invites us to look up at the night sky with a sense of wonder, to ponder the great questions of the cosmos and our place within it. Whether it was a comet, a conjunction, or a miracle, the star served its purpose. It led the Magi on a quest for truth, and it announced to the world that something incredibly significant had happened in a small, unassuming town. It's a story that continues to inspire hope and awe, reminding us that even in the darkest of nights, a single light can show the way. What do you think? Do you lean towards a scientific explanation, or do you believe it was a purely supernatural event? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I love reading your perspectives on these topics. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through history and the cosmos. If you enjoyed this exploration, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more deep dives into the mysteries of our world. Until next time, keep looking up.